Hey, what is up guys? It's the Michigan Minecrafter back here with another video. So, to give you guys a little bit of context about what you just clicked on, basically for the last year, and I actually don't know if I've mentioned it on the channel at all. I may have, but I don't remember. But basically for the last year and a half or so, me and a few people from my class that signed up have been doing like this alternative to the typical senior project that our school offers, and that is the entrepreneurial program, which basically means that we've spent the last year and a half creating our own businesses and putting together these business plans and products and all of our finances and all this crazy stuff. And tonight was the presentation, so I actually just got back. I am completely exhausted. I literally just spent the last 12 hours at school because I got there at 8 and then I was there until like 8:30 at night. So pretty intense. Yeah, so basically what my product is that I came up with and that I've been working on for the past year is refillable whiteboard markers. So this is a little bit of what they look like. Oh, come on. There we go. That might be backwards. I don't know. It looks backwards on my camera, but I don't know what it'll look like for you guys. And basically how it works is you have your typical whiteboard marker or whatever, and then you've got this removable cartridge right here. I don't know if you guys can see, but right there. And that can come out, and then when it gets empty, then people just take it out, give it back to me, I give them a full one, and then they're all set to go and they don't have to throw the marker away. So yeah, that was what I just presented on, and it was a pretty big deal. There were 8 of us that went. Everybody actually did really well. I know, of course, everybody was really anxious going up there because, I mean, we've been working on this for like a year and a half. It would suck to screw up at the last second, but it went pretty well. And actually well, of course it's not me filming my presentation, but my brother is filming, and originally I was planning on, see if I can do this with one hand. Originally I was planning on using my GoPro to get the audio when I was presenting, because of the fact that the speaker system in the gym is so bad. But I was so psyched out about presenting that I completely forgot about everything. So yeah, hopefully the audio is all right. I know the lighting's really bad. It was actually kind of like that in real life too. But you can see the presentation fine, and for the most part you can kind of see me. So, it is what it is, and it kind of gives you an idea of exactly what we had to do, because it was a pretty intense program, but it was a lot of fun. And yeah, so unfortunately I didn't do as much editing for this vlog as I have for the past couple of vlogs. I was gonna get like cutscene footage and all that kind of stuff and put music in, but unfortunately I was so preoccupied just by the idea of having to present in front of an entire gymnasium of people as well as a panel of judges that I completely forgot about all of that. So yeah, hope you guys still enjoy, and here it is. So, before I get started, let me get a show of hands. Who in here has either thrown away a whiteboard marker yourself or seen a teacher throw one away? That's what I thought. I have too. And that got me thinking, do any big whiteboard marker companies out there offer solutions for teachers to refill their whiteboard markers? And upon further inspection, I found that none of the biggest companies in the US do. So I decided to make my own. Hi, I'm Rowan Bixler, and I am the founder and owner of Ecomark. So Ecomark was founded in April 2015 in the West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science Entrepreneurial Program. And our goal is to make refillable whiteboard markers, and in doing that, change the way people view whiteboard markers from being a disposable product, there we go, to being a refillable and reusable product. So, little known fact, the average American actually throws away over 185 pounds of plastic every year. And that adds up to a total in the US of 59 trillion pounds of plastic thrown away every single year. And included in that is roughly 400 million whiteboard markers that get thrown away every year.
which, first of all, as you can imagine, is a huge financial problem because teachers are spending all this money on perfectly usable pieces of plastic that they just end up throwing away. And it poses an environmental issue because this plastic ends up out in the environment where it releases lots of harmful chemicals. So not only are standard whiteboard markers damaging to the environment at the end of their life cycle, they're also damaging at the beginning because most standard whiteboard markers are made out of corn-based or oil-based plastic. So the first step in making them is pumping that oil out of the ground. Next, that goes through the resource-intensive process known as refining, which breaks it down into the chemical components needed to make plastic. Next, that plastic goes through a process known as injection molding, which turns it into the pieces of the marker. And then finally, those are assembled, all the final details are added, and then they're distributed to consumers who use them for the short period of time that the ink lasts until finally they end up in a landfill. Now, Ecomark, on the other hand, makes markers out of corn-based plastic. So the first step in making an Ecomark marker is harvesting that corn. Next, that corn is broken down into the chemicals needed to make PLA corn-based plastic. And then I receive these big spools of filament, which I then feed it into a 3D printer, which prints out the different components of the Ecomark marker. And then after it's assembled and the ink is added and all the final details are added, then that's distributed to consumers who can use them through the typical whiteboard marker life cycle and then continue using them because they can get them refilled. So Ecomark is concerned about saving people money and saving the environment because we're based on a business strategy known as the triple bottom line, which states that we have to be environmentally, socially, and financially responsible. So Ecomark covers all three of these by first and foremost reducing plastic waste in the environment. And then we also offer consumers a product at a reasonable price that offers the long-term savings of not having to buy that plastic over and over again. And we're able to do all of this while still making a 62% profit margin on every single marker. So when I first started talking about making refillable whiteboard markers, I already had teachers coming up to me and asking when they were going to be ready because they were already interested in buying one. But upon further inspection, I found that the majority of the people that use whiteboard markers who I would be able to sell to are females between the ages of 25 and 30 and who work at West Michigan Academy of Environmental Science. So to reach out to these consumers, Ecomark has a three-step marketing strategy, which includes the use of flyers, social media, and word of mouth. Over the right here, you can see I have a picture of what an Ecomark flyer looks like. And these flyers will be handed out at events like this one tonight. And this gets consumers updated on what Ecomark is, what our products are, and why they should buy them. Ecomark uses social media more as a long-term means of keeping consumers engaged. This way, we can keep people updated on if we have any special deals on refills that we're offering, if we're offering updates to old products, or even if we're offering new products. That's how consumers can find out about that. And last but not least, Ecomark uses a strategy known as word of mouth, which basically means that I'm going to be interacting with each and every consumer that I sell a marker to. And in that interaction, I plan on encouraging teachers to go and suggest my markers to other teachers if they enjoy the experience that they get out of their Ecomark marker. So, of course, I know that most teachers already have markers from one of my main competitors, which is Expo, who sell a pack of 12 markers at Staples for $17.50. But there is a company out there that offers a much more similar product to mine, and that's OSPen, who sell a pack of 6 refillable whiteboard markers for $14.95. But OSPen is based exclusively in Australia, so if you want to buy markers from them, you have to ship them from there, which you have to factor in the extra cost of that, which is why Ecomark has an advantage over them. So we sell the full marker package, which includes the body of the marker, the filled ink cartridge, and all the other details within the marker, for $5, and that costs us $1.92 to produce, resulting in $3.08 of profit and a 62% profit margin. The refill, on the other hand, we sell for $1, and that's with the assumption that they bring the empty cartridge back. And that costs us 50 cents to produce, resulting in 50 cents of profit and a 50% profit margin. So Ecomark plans on selling about 10 markers a month for the next year, adding up to a total of 120 markers at the end of the year, and a net profit of $247.68. As far as future expansion goes, I myself am going to be graduating this June, which I'm sure leaves some teachers wondering where they're going to get their refills from. Well, no need to worry. I'm still going to be on campus quite a bit because my siblings still go here, and if extra arrangements need to be made to get the refills to teachers, they can always contact me via the email that's on the marker label. I plan on attending Grand Valley next fall, which I'm excited to say presents a huge opportunity for expanding my business, because there's so many individuals out there who use whiteboard markers on a regular basis and who I think would be interested in buying a refillable one. So in order to do this, I of course would have to get all of my own materials and not use anything provided to me by the school. So in this list I have all of the costs associated with that. So first and foremost is the 3D printer, of course, which goes for $499. And below that, I have the computer that I use, which is about $212. And the remaining things on this list are just necessities for producing my markers and adding those final touches before I go and sell them. And that adds up to a total of $782.33. To cover this, I plan on making a personal contribution of $200 to the company. My family has made about a $100 contribution to the company, and with the $1,000 from tonight, I'll have a total of $1,300, which covers my costs, and with that leftover money, I plan on using that to streamline my production process and make my markers higher quality and at a cheaper cost. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you'll all consider buying an Ecomark marker and changing the way you think about whiteboard markers.
Questions from our judges?
Got two questions for you. The first is, have you tested these to see how long they last? Do they last longer than regular Expo marker?
Well, if you're talking about like a full lifespan, then yes, they do last longer than Expo markers since you can get them refilled. It's been a tricky process developing these markers because I didn't realize how fine of a balance it is to get them either to not dry out versus not leak. And there's a lot of details involved in that. And so far, I've managed to get it kind of pinpointed to the point where they do have a pretty good lifespan. I don't have exact numbers for that though. So, I hope that answers your question.
It does. And then do you offer discounts if you buy in bulk?
Yeah, I would plan on doing that. If somebody had like a custom number of markers that they would want to buy in bulk, I could come up with an estimate for them. Any other questions?
It's me. A couple quick ones. How long does it take when you're using that printer to make a single unit?
I'm glad you asked because the markers themselves actually do take quite a while to 3D print. The cap takes about a half hour. The body takes about an hour and a half, and the ink cartridge itself takes roughly an hour. So that is why I've built up quite an inventory over the last few months, just constantly printing them so that when the time came to sell them, I would be ready and have enough.
Yeah, you definitely explore making molds, and then, for the polylactic acid plastic into those molds and have it done in 15 minutes per unit.
Exactly.
So that sounded like we were kind of getting there after towards the end. The other question I have, another method for making money is the subscription model. I can totally see where something like this you could pay to have this, and then each month or each week you get a set of billables and just return it back in. Have you thought through of that program? You know, the return shipping and those types of things?
At the moment, the model that I have for distributing refills is focused more on selling to teachers that are actually at the school, because there are some design limitations that make it hard to ship long distances. But part of streamlining my production would involve also doing a little bit of redesigning that would make it possible to ship long distances, like you were saying. So at the moment, I'm more centered around selling to teachers at the school, but in the future, that would be definitely a market that I would want to expand.
Yeah, I think you got a great concept here. So.
Thank you.
I have a question. How many teachers here are using your product at the academy?
This was actually kind of my opening night, so I know I know Mr. Johnson bought a couple, and so yeah, I don't actually have people out using them yet,
Okay.
but over the next week I'll probably sell quite a few.
I saw your target demographic on there. I know Mrs. Clausen is not in that demographic of the 20 to 30. So. I just had to pick on her. Just kidding. Any more questions for Rowan? Anyone else?
Yes, we had a plans and ways to replace this one up. We use it much more for the first time. Nice and clean. That's the message.
Yeah, actually, I would be willing if people like came up to me and said, you know, the tip of their marker is wearing out. I would definitely be able to sell them another one for pretty cheap because the ones I got are I bought them in bulk, so not too expensive. And the way that I designed the marker actually prevents one of the biggest problems that I noticed with typical whiteboard markers, which is after a while, if you press really hard on them, the tip starts to go like inside the marker. So I actually have like a little ridge on the inside that prevents that from happening.
Anyone else?
Unfortunately, at this point, I do only have black because I wanted to make sure that I had all of my design and stuff nailed down before I branched out into different colors and different markets and all of those sorts of things. So again, that would be another example of something that I would prioritize in expanding the business, is definitely offering